Rainbow Six Siege, a game I'm sure you've heard all about at some point in time, whether it's from an advert, a video, a friend, even your grandma. Maybe she's playing Siege. If she is, get her off it. Those of you who've been living under a rock for the past 9 years, Siege is an elite, tactical team-based shooter where superior planning and execution triumph. That's what the Steam page says anyway. If you'd ask someone to define Siege now, you'd get a different answer. Some would describe it as a run and gun game, others would say it's worse than ever, and it's definitely overrun with cheaters, or some would even say it's still a great game. Now, which one of these is right and which one of these is wrong? All of them, because at some point in time, they're all right. But don't get me wrong, Siege is still a great game, and they still add lots of great things to the game. As of recently, let me tell you, we got drone speed boosts. My favourite. Don't forget the faster repel as well, that's a classic one. Compared to the old updates, what do we get? Hard breach gadgets, multiple Capcons on the door, shared reinforcements. What, faster reinforcement? No one cares about that. Faster drones are where it's at. Siege for me right now just doesn't have the same wow factor it used to have. When I first got the game, it was amazing. There was nothing like it. You get on Siege now and holy crap, what the hell are you supposed to do? I feel sorry for the newcomers because like, they can give you as much training as you want, but you don't really know what's happening until you're about 100 games in and you want to cry.
Wow. Okay.
When I first got the game, there were so many different ways to play that I'd never seen before. We've got rappelling, breaking barricades while rappelling, and even trying to get into the building doing that. We've got reinforcing soft walls to make sure they're harder to break through. We've got barricading so people can't just walk in. And you know what? We've even got unique gadgets that you can play any way you want. Just don't do what this guy does. And my favourite, we have droning. I don't think any other game has it to this degree. And look at this drone. Look at all the things he can 100% definitely do in this game. Imagine if everybody started droning. We'd win all the games. Well, that's not happening. It was so much to learn. And it felt worth learning because once you mastered them, you think, okay, I'm the best. Then you realize you're not the best. Regardless of this, Siege has definitely become one of my favourite shooters of all times. Although, I don't know if that's saying much because Fortnite's also one of my favourites, and have you seen that recently? Because it's probably better off that you haven't. Alright, let's say you've been playing for a little while, you're getting used to it, you're hitting some nice shots, and you know what, you're giving callouts even, because my teammates don't currently do that. If you're giving callouts at this point, well done to you. Your games are getting a little easier, and you're thinking, okay, what's going on? Bring on the challenge? Let me tell you, ranked on Rainbow Six Siege, Tom Clancy himself would be rolling in his grave watching this gameplay. It is the worst thing you could possibly do to yourself. Loading that game mode, by yourself especially, is one of the worst forms of torture I've ever seen. Ranked is the competitive game mode that's just like your standard game, but you get shiny badges next to your name for how well you did. Who doesn't want that? When I first unlocked ranked after reaching a certain level, I always wanted to beat my friends' ranks, and they started above me because I missed some games, and eventually I'd get a higher rank because it seemed doable. Now the system is horrible, it is completely rigged, and it is such a downgrade from what it used to be. Originally, from what I remember anyway, when you won with your teammates, you'd get the same amount of RP because that's fair. You've done the same game, maybe you've performed worse, I don't know, but you got around about the same RP. Now, let's say you've got a buddy old chum, right? And he does a season by himself, you do a season by yourself, he does really awful, and you did surprisingly well. Now you go into the next season, but you're in the same games every single time. On the same team, of course, because you don't want to be killing your friend. Or maybe you do, you psychopath. No matter how many games you win, no matter how many kills he gets, even if he gets the most kills on the team every single time, you're going to be a higher rank, because you placed higher last season than he did. It is completely rigged. Also want to note some changes that came with the game, whether they changed things to a small degree or they completely removed them. The mechanics. This one's pretty straightforward. Everyone has just become slow, like a slug. The game felt way more fluid with how the characters interacted with things and just how the game felt in general. He hunts and or terrace hunts, whatever you called it. This was a game mode where you would be an attacker or a defender and kill roughly about 25 AI either defending an objective or attacking an objective. To me, this was the best way to warm up in the game at the time. With very little risk of dying, I don't see why it was a bad choice. And then they removed it because they've added their own AI playlist. I'm sorry to the Siege team that did the UI, but I don't like it. The game just feels more junky with these menus, and let me tell you, as a console player, I spend more time flicking through the menus than using them. You also remove the old intro music. Why? I don't know. Maybe it's because you stopped doing the season title cards. Or maybe make a good season, then we can add them back. Overall, I think it just looks a little generic. One more complaint. Who added this? This little thing right there. Do you know what that is? It is to display if you have the year pass. Now, who cares? Let me count on one hand. No one cares at all. The only person who can see it is you, and I don't think you need a reminder that you have the year pass. For people who don't have it, I don't need that UI. Get it off my screen. You're not trying to get me to buy the year pass, especially not now. Another thing I miss is the way the games progress to be more about gadgets and aim, and that's really it. When you add so many operators that essentially become rip-offs of one another, even between games, it becomes more, alright guys, what are we going to inevitably die to this round? They used to have useful gadgets, not a mini helicopter that flies in your face and tells someone where you are. Let's just say you bought the game, and you start seeing this. You'll be like, what the hell am I playing? Not to mention Ubisoft's idea of balancing an operator heavily relies on what scopes an operator does and doesn't have. You know, the elite tactical team based blah blah blah. This is my perfect attack for you. This is how you win every single attack round. Throw some smoke, throw some more gadgets, throw some flashbangs, make as much noise as possible. Put some more gadgets down, make sure you plant the bomb during this, and what the hell, throw a drone in there. Congratulations, you're giving everyone on the enemy team PTSD. While there are counters to almost every strategy, if you have to pick your operators based on the meta at the time, rather than picking someone because you want to use their gadget or you like how they play, then you're putting yourself at a disadvantage, unless you main the metas at the time or you're just the best, in which case, I don't like you. But don't worry, this also applies for defending. Let's take two of my favourite operators. I really love these guys. We've got Thorn and Fenrir. Let's look at Fenrir. He's like Scarecrow from Batman, but he's less cool and no one cares about him. His gadget puts this purple gunk all over the screen and you start walking around like you can't see anything. That's because you can't. Let's pair this with Thorn, my second favourite operator for defense, whose gadget works like Russian roulette, except all 6 chambers are loaded and someone else is shooting you. Look at that gadget. Doesn't that look riveting? With a combination of both of these, your game can be really fun. Now, if we were to look on the flip side of things, the game has more concurrent players than it's ever had before. That in itself is a great thing, because that means we're still getting updates and more people are still coming on the game. I still play it, many other people still play it, because Siege itself is so unique and there's no other competitors. Even if there was competitors, they'd probably be terrible. Siege is still unique and enjoyable, and there's so many different ways to play it. You can challenge yourself to ranked, you can load up a quick match and just kill some time and have no competitive aspect, or you can even go into a custom match and just mess around. One of my favourite Siege YouTubers, your boy Roy, proves you can still have fun without following the meta. I'd recommend watching him. He plays ranked and he's always trying things that aren't normally being done, whether it's making holes across the entire map, coming up with new ways to set up site, or just jumping on claymores.
Last one's K9, last one.
He shows you can do whatever you want and it doesn't have to follow what anyone else is doing, as long as you're enjoying it.
Alright, one's been planting.
What ping? That one?
Red ping. Yep.
Goofy goober.
Right, last one's here, getting defused. Come
I know
back.
he's planting.
Going in the kids, he's in kids, I can't see. Planting in kids.
That's diabolical, really. The poor kids.
Oh,
alright, look, tweet.
10 points. 10 points.
Right. Greedy. What I think I really miss about Siege was playing it before things changed. Things don't always change for the better, but that doesn't mean they always have to change for the worse either. Loading it up, trying to rank up with my friends and having fun. That's what I wanted to do, and that's what I still do. The reason for playing the game hasn't changed, but in my eyes, it lost some things that made it better than any other alternatives. More and more of the changes, to me anyway, feel like they were aimed at the pro players who made the game popular, rather than the regular players. After all, that's what makes the game popular. Sometimes I wish I could play the old Siege, but if I really was able to do that, I don't think I would enjoy it as much as I think. Well, you've watched the video now, and I want you to answer the question. Do you actually miss old Siege? If you have anything you want to say, type below, and I don't think I have anything better to do, so I'll probably respond. I'd also recommend trying Siege if you haven't, though maybe play with a friend who's already played before. Siege might stick around for another 10 years, and the real question is, will you and I still be playing it? My name's Mali Babo, and thanks for watching.